Hi, I am so glad that you have joined me today because this is the last in our series called Guidelines for a Master, which means you. You are a master. So let's recap what we've talked about so far. In our first lesson, we talked about the idea of the compare and despair syndrome. And that in itself is a victim mentality where you are focused on what's lacking. And I've got to say, there is nothing lacking within you. You uniquely exist. And there is a God presence that loves you completely, just the way you are. So cherish your uniqueness. And then in our second lesson, we talked about patience. You might remember that lesson. And it's the idea that if our desires have not come into fruition yet, we don't see them out in physical reality, then the problem is what happens is that we give up. We give up too soon. We start focusing on the fact that it isn't here yet. And then our energy is focused on it isn't here, it's not coming about, blah, 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 blah. You know, that whole syndrome. And you start a whole new momentum of opposing energy. And so remember, the job of the universe is to match your vibratory frequency. It's to match your vibration. So be patient for the reason that your desire is coming about. Just be patient. As a friend of mine used to say, in every delay, there's a blessing on its way. So just know something good is coming out of this. In the third lesson, we talked about words and the words that we speak. And we don't always consider what we are saying. We are clueless to the fact that the words that we speak have an impact energetically on how we are affecting our environment. Throughout the Bible, we are told of the energy of our words. In fact, our master teacher, Jesus, keenly was aware of the power of words when he said, "Not that which cometh into the mouth defileth a man, but that which is coming forth from the mouth, this defileth a man." And I tell you, on this day, you will have to give an account for every careless word you utter. Words have power, so be mindful as to how you use them. And then in our fourth lesson, we talked about the power of the imagination. So let's take a moment to look at that word, imagination. Magi, nation, personal pronoun I. Magi means magician, nation. You are the magician of your nation. You are the magician of your world. And you can use the power of your imagination to create the kind of world you prefer. Imagination is a conduit between your higher mind and your divine mind. Higher mind is your divine mind, and your physical mind. And so it's up to you to be able to use this mind in a positive way or in a negative way. It's always up to you. And either way, you are shaping the energy of your thought and words. And then in our fifth lesson last week, Reverend Beth Ann and I talked about the idea of when you're up against something, when you have some kind of a problem and you are being called to master it. That's why the problem is there, is for you to master it, not to become the victim to it. And so today we want to wrap up this series by remembering the truth that my teacher in ministerial school, who I really considered to be quite a mystic. He was such a profound teacher. His name was Ed Rabel. And what he believed is that each one of us has a spiritual bank account, if you will. And in this spiritual bank account, we keep putting deposits where we put in our desires, our prayers, whatever it is, our goals, our intentions. We put it into our spiritual bank account. And they have already been established in the ethereal realm. So just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Your desire exists. However, in order for it to manifest, in order for your desire to come into physical reality, you need to be a vibrational match to it, right? That's how a manifestation happens in your world. And so the tipping point for being a vibrational match to your desires is, drumroll, gratitude. Gratitude. Now, some of you are probably saying, gratitude, really? That's so basic. It's so 101. It's so uninteresting. And I say, hold on, little doggy. Just hold on, because gratitude, the kind of gratitude that I'm talking about, is far beyond basic. It's far beyond 101. Let's just call it fierce. Let's call it unstoppable gratitude. Let's just call it in your face type of gratitude. And none of this pansy, wishy-washy, namby-pamby kind of stuff. As I've said before, this series is for deep thinkers. It's not for the average. It's not for the ordinary. Because what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary is the application of these principles. It's one thing to know about them, and it's an entirely different experience to actually put them into practice. Remember, unity is a practice. It's a way of living. It's not only a philosophy. And that is why we're going to talk about fierce gratitude today, for the reason that if you don't stop daily to take inventory of the gazillion things that are going right in your life, the way of the world will let you know just how terrible life is. Have you noticed that? I'm sure you have. Syncing up with the way of the world is called living life by default, where the outside world will dictate how you must act, how you must feel, how you must just be. And that is why Jesus said, I am in the world, but I'm not of it. You don't have to allow the collective unconscious to dictate your inner environment. The collective unconscious will say that the world is going to hell in a handbasket, and that your personal world is going with it. It's going down with it. And so it takes a master to rise above the group think. You see, when you are in fierce gratitude, you rise to a higher level of consciousness. And what happens is that it provides a portal. It provides an entry point that calls in miracles. Isn't that good? Don't you love that? Giving thanks is that superpower that moves you onto the frequency that where you are now in vibrational harmony with all the good that is already in your spiritual bank account. That's when you become a vibratory frequency with everything that you've deposited into your spiritual bank account. So here's the big secret. You don't have to work hard to get connected to this portal of all the goodness that's in there, except for one thing. Stop engaging and listening to negativity. Have you ever noticed that it's virtually impossible to be negative and grateful at the same time? It takes a master to do this, and you're a master. Now, here's a true story of a dear friend of mine. In the 1980s, my friend, who is also a New Thought minister, he had a thriving church of approximately maybe 500 people at the most on each Sunday morning. To protect his anonymity, I'm going to call him John. So somewhere along the line, he was introduced to the concept that there was going to be not only a financial depression in our economy in the 1980s, but that there was going to be some major earth changes at that time to mean just a huge disaster in this country. And so he believed this so much that he attracted to him all the stories out there that verified his belief. You know how sometimes when we're focused on something, we see it all over the place. We attract articles about it. We attract people that are in the same way of thinking. Well, he attracted news articles, television documentaries, and like-minded people. those relationships in his life, and every bit of information was in sync and in agreement with this belief system that there was going to be a financial depression and a major earth change. So there's a saying for this. It's birds of a feather flock together. The belief that the United States was going to tank in every aspect became a big, big, big part of his life. All of this was going on in his life unbeknown to his congregation. And so one Sunday, the congregation was all gathered together, but there was no John. John never showed up. Later that day, the board of directors went over to John's house only to find out that John and his family had left for Montana, where it was said to be the safest place to be. They hid there in a bunker along with other people that thought the same thing, thought that the same thing was going to happen, that there was going to be a great disaster. And they were there for a number of weeks, but nothing happened. The economy was fine. The earth was just fine. Everything was just fine. And then John sheepishly had to come back and face everyone. The only thing was, he came back to exactly what he had created in his own mind. The church decided that they no longer needed his services, and rightly so. He was out of a job. And other churches weren't sure that they wanted to hire someone that didn't practice these principles. And so, economically, he was experiencing his own financial depression. There was no money coming in. Not only that, but the house that they owned had an earth change of its own. While they were gone, the pipes had burst and flooded the whole house. He created exactly what he was focused on. Remember, the universe, the energy, wherever you are focused, the energy of the universe will go there. The energy of the universe will manifest that for you. So he struggled for quite some time until he realized that he needed to get back to basics. He realized that he participated in the doom and gloom of the world. He was in the world and he was of the world. He began using these master principles that we've been talking about. He began using them, and he turned his life around in a really big way. And the biggest principle that he did on a daily basis was to give thanks for what he did have. And there were a gazillion blessings that actually were going on in his life. And there's a happy ending to this story. Once again, he is with a very thriving church and truly living a life of well-being and success because he knows without a doubt these principles work. These principles work if you practice them. You and I need to remember that unity is a liberation movement. The teachings of unity offers us tools towards our freedom. So John started using these basic unity tools to liberate himself from the bind that he got himself into. Now, I tell you this story because you live in a world of your own consciousness, which is the sum total of your thoughts and feelings, and you get to master your own consciousness. The universe is at a tipping point of giving you all the goodness that you desire right at your feet. It never disappears. It's in your spiritual bank account. The universe never falters. It never does anything but to love and to deliver whatever it is that you are focused on. Now, there might be some of you that are saying, yeah, but the universe, it never delivers blessings. And I've got to say, the problem has never been unwillingness on the part of the universe. The problem has been the inability to see the good that it continuously offers and the good that already exists. The other morning, I woke up and I thought, what if everything I put my hands on that I was grateful, or everything that I saw with my physical eyes, I was just grateful for. And so I got out of bed, I put on my robe that keeps me nice and warm, and I said, "Wow, God, thank you for this robe. I own this robe. Not everybody on this planet owns a robe." And then I went to get my teacup, and I said, "Wow, God, thank you for this teacup. Thank you for the tea bag and the hot water that I'm about ready to put in my teacup. I actually own these things. Not everybody on this planet owns a teacup, a tea bag, and hot water at one's disposal." And then I sat in front of my computer and I said, "Wow, God, thank you for this computer, and thank you for the most comfortable chair in front of my computer. Thank you for the available internet. Not everybody on this planet has a chair, a computer, and an internet." And on and on and on it went throughout the day. With everything I touched, I was in deep gratitude. And I ended the day with such bliss in my heart. It's a great exercise. You see, when you do this, you get to see with different eyes. You get to see that there are a gazillion things going right for you every single day. Gratitude raises your vibration. It brings you in harmony with all the good that the universe wants to bestow upon you. And here's the cool part. Only one thing is required of you. You just have to make space in your consciousness for good to get in. You just have to make space for good to get in. And the best way to make that space is to focus on everything that is going right and just be grateful. It's a pretty sweet gig. I'm just saying. Now, there might be some of you that are thinking, well, gratitude is cute and all, but there are environmental issues and there are starving people on the planet. And I would like to suggest that there is nothing more important that you could ever do for yourself, your family, your friends, your work, your environment, your planet, and yes, even those people that are starving on the planet. The world right now is in great need for a team of radio towers, of high-powered satellites who are beaming light and love instead of disaster and gloom. Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, said, "Like the signal from a radio station, our energy is not visible. So we live our lives unaware of the power that resides within us and around us. We transmit this energy like ripples on a pond, with every thought we think and every word we speak." How about that? So how would you like to be a part of a team of radio towers that is beaming love and light? That's the best thing you could do to serve this planet. Every day, we see people whose lives are wonderful, and every day we see lives that could be a little bit better. The ones who could be better in their life have one thing in common. They lack gratitude for what they already have. They are most likely involved in a particular activity that diminishes good. You know what that particular activity is? If you want to lose all the wonderful, amazing things in your life, if you want your days to be harder, if you want to struggle and feel depressed, all you have to do is this one particular activity. Complain. Complain. Complain about government, complain about your lot in life, complain about your job, complain about your relationships or lack thereof, complain about your family, and then your focus on what you are complaining about is where the universe will focus in with you. Energy goes where your focus goes. And the job of the universe is to match your vibratory frequency. And believe me, if you are complaining, you will find more to complain about. To turn a phrase from My Fair Lady, the pain and strain lie mainly in the brain. It takes a master It takes a master because complaining is popular. Complaining is contagious. And if you tune in with the complainers, you become the chain of pain. It's contagious. Therefore, we need to stop complaining and to be fierce about the countless things that are going right. If you want your life to get better in every possible way, if you want more than enough money, if you want incredible loving relationships, if you want a healthy, happy, vibrant body, if you want to be happy and fulfilled, all you have to do is to be grateful and notice the gazillion things that are going right in your life. Start right here. Start right now. Lent starts this coming Wednesday, tonight. It starts tonight. So how about for the next 40 days, you and I decide for ourselves to go beyond the doom and gloom of the world and to just live in the gazillion things that are going right. As I said, gratitude provides a portal. It provides an entry point that calls in all miracles. And one more thing about gratitude. Give gratitude in advance for all the desires that you see that you have put into your spiritual bank account. Give thanks in advance. From ancient teachings to Oprah, there's a reason why everyone promotes gratitude. And the reason being, because it works. It takes a master to do these things, and I bow to you. I bow to you. Because I know that you are a master. You are a deep thinker, beyond ordinary and average. You are truly extraordinary. So thank you for joining me these last 6 weeks of this series. I do appreciate that you've tuned in. God bless you, and may you notice the gazillion things that are going right in your life. Take care. Bye-bye.